Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective.
Hey there, everyone. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. We had some gardeners. Yes, the gardeners showed up today. So I wanted to wait a few minutes here. They're not our gardeners, the neighbors' gardeners apparently show up on Tuesdays now, so they're available here a little earlier than anticipated. So wanted to wait a few minutes. So I apologize for the delay getting the show started, but that is why I didn't want to hear you hear the brrr as the gardeners did their thing. I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for joining me here today. Really appreciate that. This is obviously a free show powered by FantasyGuru.com. You can find my work over there at FG. You can find me on Twitter X, on Instagram, on Threads, on YouTube, on Blue Sky, all those places. Just type in @BRayFlowers. Should be able to find me there. And if not, let me know. If there's a place I'm not at, let me know. Angelo leaves a comment here. Welcome to the Tanner Houck Rest in Peace eulogy. I got a lot to say about that, and we will be talking about that situation, Angelo. So you were able to discern one of the topics of the show today, and it may be why you expect it. It may not be why you expect it. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. Here's what we're talking about today. We've got some baseball talk for about the next 25 or so minutes, and we'll visit with Armando and Marsal, talk some football. When Armando joins us, and he joins us every Tuesday, we often open up pack cards. So stay tuned for that. Baseball packs are hot and heavy, so they'll probably happen later in the show today. So check that out toward the end. Armando will join us, talk about what the Saints are doing, what are the Steelers doing, what about the Giants backfield, what about Christian McCaffrey, how should we be viewing him this year, what's going on with James Cook, is he going to hold out, are the Texans okay at wide receiver, what's the plan there, what about Tyreek Hill? Yeah, so we'll talk about these topics with Armando and Marsal in about 25 minutes. Before then, lots of baseball talk here, pitching talk, hitting talk, terrible management talk, injury discussions, bullpen. By the way, the bullpen report, the closer grid, is available right now at FantasyGuru.com. We just updated that, so check that out. Lots to talk about here over the next hour. Thanks for joining me today. You can always watch us live on YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, or leave a comment there, as Angelo did. You can watch us live on Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. Leave a comment there. Twitter X @FantasyGuru site. You can leave a comment there. I don't know if I said it or not. YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Any of those three places. Leave questions, comments, we'll address them throughout the show. We also have the opportunity here for you to view in any of those three locations the show visually at any point, because obviously the shows are stored there. And then you can watch us or listen to us live by typing Fantasy Sports Daily into your podcast network, or just have fun with us by going to FG, clicking the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page and finding this show as well as the other shows on the network that you can listen to. Don't forget, we have this show at 12 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. The Elite Sports Show with Jeff Mans is Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. And then from 8 to 10 Eastern on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, myself and Justin Fensterman doing the Elite Sports Game Time Show. So that show, we usually spend about 20 minutes talking basketball, because we're going over the live action of the night. So we spend about 20 minutes talking basketball, and about an hour and a half talking baseball. So those of you who want more baseball talk, check us out there in the evening. Okay, let's get into this baseball talk. By the way, I see Chris D with a question here, and this is interesting. It's come up a couple of times. Ray, should we be concerned with Bryan Reynolds' struggles? Just throw him on the bench for now. Yeah, there was a question in Discord about Bryan Reynolds today. And the fact is that, and we've talked a lot about Reynolds to this point, that he had the issue with the health. And he played through it. He soldiered on. And I think it kind of like Spencer Steer. I think both these guys did themselves a disservice by playing through something that others might have sat. Bryan Reynolds, for 4 years now, has been almost the exact same guy year after year, right? This year, he doesn't look anything like that. Now, the bad news is the strikeout rate is up significantly. He's usually around 22%. It's 28%. That's not good. I don't anticipate him swinging and missing so much the second half of the season moving forward. But again, that's a little bit of an issue, that, speaking to the concern. His isolated power mark has never been worse. It's the lowest of his career right now. That isn't ideal. His launch angle is down, and it's down to the point where it's about half, a little bit less than half of actually his career average. That's a concern. So we have more strikeouts, We have a guy that's not being able to lift the ball. These are not two things that are in combination good for Bryan Reynolds. He shouldn't have a 52% ground ball rate, right? That's just not ideal. You look at his hit dispersal chart, he's hitting a lot up the middle, which is not bad. His pull rate's about the same as normal, but nothing to the opposite field. So what he's doing is he's making a lot of moderate to weak contact on the ground, right? His batted ball data is not bad. If you look at exit velocity numbers and barrel rates and hard hit rates, like these numbers are still fine, but he's just not able to pull the ball with authority. He's not using the field as effectively as normal. I think this all stems from his injury. If you look at his expected WOBA this year, it's 342. His expected WOBA last year was 350. His expected WOBA the season before was 360. I do not think all hope is lost with Bryan Reynolds at all because of the numbers we just discussed and because of his track record. I would agree with you, Chris, that putting him on the bench for now, I'm totally down with that. I'm totally okay with that. Let's not forget O'Neal Cruz is banged up. He's been out of the lineup here as well of late. So, this lineup is not exactly gelling. They've got a difficult matchup with Kodai Senga tonight. So, yeah, I think it's fair to bench Reynolds for now. I wouldn't be dropping him. Absolutely would not drop him. Trade him. It's tough to trade. We had a question in Discord. It was him for Brandon Pfaadt, and it's like, well, you need pitching. Okay. Pfaadt, I think, is a little bit over his head right now. The strikeout rate's down a little bit, which is concerning. We talked about his changes to his pitch mix. I think it's a fair trade, but is that the kind of trade that you're looking to make with a Bryan Reynolds type? Trading a guy who has a track record at his lowest point, which is basically what we'd be doing here, is a little bit of a risk. So that's kind of my thoughts on Brian Wilson. Jackson Merrill, to just highlight what he's done since he's returned as we jump into the meat of the show today. 3 for 4 yesterday. He's hitting 467. Came back from injury and just continues. He's blazing. And this is just an appreciation tweet, I guess, for Jackson Merrill, who, I gave him mad credit last year for switching from shortstop to the outfield when the team needed him. And he has not skipped a beat. Like, he is just he's had a fantastic start to his career, unlike so many other players. We talked about Nick Kurtz yesterday. Unlike so many other high-end prospects, Merrill is an absolute success story. Mike Trout hit 210 his rookie season, right? Like, Jackson Merrill has been fantastic. And again, I just wanted to give him a shout out because we haven't mentioned him here on the show. Just fantastic, crazy good. Padres got him and Tatis and Machado. That's, then you start talking about him adding back Cronenworth, and they got Luis Ariz, and that's a good team. Sporting a good record, and yes, our total base prop on Manny Machado, or hit run RBI prop, on Manny Machado hit last night. Masyn Winn, who I've talked about multiple times on the evening show with Justin Fensterman. Again, Elite Sports game times 8 to 10 Eastern, Monday through Friday. Masyn Winn hit his 4th home run of the year yesterday. The good news for Winn, as I think we talked about in this show a while back, just to reiterate, he was supposed to hit leadoff, stunk all spring, stunk in the season began, got hurt, got injured, all this. He's back to being Masyn Winn. His slash line is pretty close to what we should expect this season. He's hitting in 250s. I'd hope that number's 275. But as I said last night on the show with him, the real issue with Winn is he's got to start running. He's got only 4 attempted steals to date. He's 2 for 4. Got to run. And if he can pick that up and steal 25 bases this year, which there's still plenty of time to do, if he can do that, his numbers in performance look a lot better. If he's going to steal 11 bases like he did last year, he's going to be disappointing. It certainly helps that he's hitting second in the lineup now, though, because that'll give him the opportunity to really drive up that run scored column. So bottom line with Masyn Winn, if you're in a deeper league like most of mine are, he's fine as a middle infield option. If you're in a shallower league, there's not enough power here to get excited about unless he's running. Let's see here. I'm about ready to lose my camera. Give me 1 second. There we go. Hey, there we go. Now the camera's back to being even. Though I'm not in the center any longer. Let's move over here a little bit. God, my face looks kind of big today too, doesn't it? Let's make an adjustment here with the old camera. There we go. A little too far. There we go. There's Ray's face. Okay. Masyn Winn, let's keep an eye on what he's doing. Mostly good, trending in the right direction, but does need to run a little bit more to have that success. Jordan Walker, another youngster on that Cardinals team. 0 for 4. He's 7 for 67. And this is, again, a reminder, because remember back when Jordan Walker was a rookie, he was supposed to be the bee's knees. He was supposed to be the guy that was going to be a star in this league. He was supposed to be the guy that would lead a lineup. He was supposed to be 2020 as a rookie. None of it has happened. He's struggled mightily to find any kind of significant footing at the big league level. I think going 7 for 67 I mean, I think he's been on the bench for like 4 or 10 games here. He's going to get demoted. And if he doesn't get demoted, he's just not a starting piece of this team anymore. And given the fact that the Cardinals, where they're at in their development, what their expectations were heading into this season, they fully expected Jordan Walker to play 145, 50 games. And he's just continued to fail to live up to expectations. There's still time. He's still a young guy and all that. But for those people, including myself, that were hoping, hey, let's take Jordan Walker as our 5th or 6th outfielder, we're going to have, nice return on that. With each passing day, it looks less and less likely that's going to happen. It's unfortunate. The Cubs are calling up Moises Ballesteros. He's going to join the team today, according to reports. Why does this matter? Well, he's a catcher, and they've got Carson Kelly, so he'll DH a little bit with Ballesteros, but this really isn't about Ballesteros and the call-up with him, though he was absolutely obliterating pitching down at the PCL level. So if he does stick as the daily DH, he's hitting 360 with a 420 on-base percentage and a 520 slug. Like, he was ripping it up. So some minor interest in deep leagues. In a 10 or 12 team league, I'm not making a move on Ballesteros at this point. 14, 15 maybe. Let's see how the week plays out. But the real news is here that Ian Happ, who was supposed to be okay with that side issue, is not okay. He's going on the injured list. I mean, I can only tell you what the reports tell me, and they said he was going to be okay, and he's not okay. The real big news here is Pete Crow-Armstrong, who we talked about on the show. Pete Crow-Armstrong, who literally yesterday in the Race Ramblings piece over at fantasyguru.com, we talked about this exact scenario. But we were saying that the PCA, he's hitting 6th. He's had a tremendous start to the season. If he hits leadoff, which he's doing right now until Ian Happ returns, this even makes him more exciting. Well, now we have Ian Happ out of the lineup. We have Ian Happ on the injured list. It's an oblique situation. We know obliques can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks in most instances. 4 weeks is kind of the mid-level. So if we're talking a month of time for PCA to be the leadoff guy for the Cubs, that's very intriguing. Now, at the same time, PCA is not going to go 40-40 this year, which is basically his current pace. Pete Crow-Armstrong is slightly below the league average on base percentage right now. He fits the leadoff spot because he's got some pop, because he steals bases. He doesn't fit the leadoff spot in terms of getting on base, which really is the goal of the leadoff hitter. So we'll see how long this experiment lasts, but this is absolutely positive news. It gets PCA in front of Tucker. It gets in front of Suzuki. It gets him an opportunity to really start to fly up the draft boards in terms of the counting categories, especially that runs column. We'll watch him to see if he runs as much. He's much freer to run batting 6th, and he's going to be batting 1st. So we'll see in the end how this shakes out. Overall positive for PCA, but we might get a little bit of a shifting of his production as a result of the move to the top of the order. All right, next up, Oswaldo Cabrera left the game on Monday. He hurt his knee, non-contact injury. We see this usually in football. Probably really bad news for Cabrera. They'll run all the tests and make the determination. DJ LeMahieu is getting close to a return, so it'll probably be LeMahieu and Yorvit Vivas battling for time at second base. Pablo Reyes is kind of around. There's a lot of guys that the Yankees were interested in. None of these guys, Vivas, Reyes, LeMahieu, none of these guys really have an interest right now. Just not. Angela said, I drafted Jackson Merrill in the 4th round. How did you get Jackson Merrill in the 4th round, Angela? Jackson Merrill's ADP was inside the top 20 this year. Maybe you meant, it couldn't have been last year. That would have been too aggressive. Let me pull that up. Merrill, Jackson Merrill's ADP was like 25. How you got him in the 4th round? That's great news for you. Not really any actionable information here with the Yankees, more of just letting you know what's going on here. All these guys, and they're not really the Yankees that we obviously want to target. Willy, hey, Angela, even if it's in a 10-team league, his ADP was 25. So I don't know how that happened. Good for you. Good for you. Willy Adames has been moved down to the 6th spot in the order by the Giants, and Adames hasn't hit. And I don't think there's any real concern with the Giants. They love this guy. The teammates love this guy. Organization was happy to bring him in. He's had a great attitude, and everything's positive about Adames other than the bat. It's kind of important, I know. For us in the fantasy game, that's all that matters. It'll start to get better. But at the same time, as we've discussed, I think a lot of people were maybe expecting too much for Adames. There is some pressure with that big contract. There is some pressure with changing teams. There is some pressure with the fact that hitting in San Francisco is different than hitting in Milwaukee. It's not as good a place to bat. So he's still looking to find his footing. I would say that overall, given expectations, it's been poor. Now, again, I don't think I had Adames as high as most people did on their boards this year for the rankings. Even where I had him, it's still a disappointing start to the season. Plenty of time for him to go 25, 85 this year and be okay. But I think a lot of the expectation game got ahead of things with Willy Adames. Let's talk some bullpen guys. Remember, by the way, that the bullpen closer chart has been updated at fantasyguru.com. And let me just say this. There's been a lot of consternation I've seen on social media, seen some of it in the Discord room as well. People being, upset with bullpens. It's the nature of the beast. And I think for those people that have been around for a while, you understand how this goes. But I think some people were kind of lulled into a sense of security because last season it was pretty stable in the bullpen relative to years past. And this year it hasn't been. We've had tons of changes. We've had turnover. We've had injuries. And we're getting to the point now where it's starting to get dicey. And Robert Suarez, who has been spectacular, not good, he's been spectacular. 15 saves, tearing up the opponent, not dominating anybody, but no one can hit this guy. Comes out and lays bagel of all bagels, gets one out and gives up 5 runs. He walked 4 guys. 1 out, 5 runs. Still has great numbers. Like his ERA is still 3. His whip is still 0.83. That's how amazing he has been. There was always going to be regression with him. It just unfortunately came all at once. There's still going to be some regression here. He doesn't miss enough bats to post a 0.83 whip. His batting average of balls in play is 175. It's just so low. He's going to be fine. I was wrong about him. I was not as high on him. I didn't think he had a chance to repeat the 36 saves from last season. Clearly looks like he's got a chance to do that. But yesterday's effort was a terrible beatdown. There was a worse beatdown we'll talk about in a few minutes. But there was that. So he'll be fine. Don't worry about him. Just a terrible outing. Now, David Bednar lost to the Mets after giving up an unearned run in the bottom of the 9th inning. And this goes back to a discussion we had. Was it yesterday? Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, here on the show. If you had Bednar and you had Santana, I hope you didn't drop Santana. If you wanted to add Bednar, go for it. Again, I stated that I've laid this situation out repeatedly. Bednar is going to lead this team in saves most likely. It's still uncertain right now. Bednar, he's just a wonky guy. Now, the problem for the Pirates is they don't win a ton of games, number 1. Number 2, Santana's been pretty good. And number 3, Bednar's been wonky for like a year now. He does still have the history in the 9th inning. He's still the best guy, I think, for the job. But as we say all the time, you can't blow games. And you can't pitch poorly in the 9th inning. You just can't do it on a consistent basis. And he has been very inconsistent. So something to follow. Dennis Santana was dropped the other day over the weekend, which he very well could have been. I would say pick him up. If you got a roster spot, pick him up because it's still possible he works the 9th inning. Luke Jackson had a ball off his arm yesterday, 111 miles an hour. Woof. Reports are good. He didn't break his arm. There is uncertainty whether or not Luke Jackson of the Rangers will require an injured list stint or not. So if Chris Martin's on the waiver wire, add him. If Robert Garcia is on the waiver wire and you can finagle it, not a bad idea. Luke Jackson has been fine. He's had some bumps in the road. He's not a classical reliever. Would I be surprised if he led this team in saves? No. Am I gung-ho with him getting 25-plus saves this year? No, I'm not. I've talked about him since he was asserted into this role right at the end of camp. We heard all the talk about, hey, he could be the guy. I discussed how I picked him up in one of my leagues. I'm not, I got him in one of my leagues, but I'm pretty pleased with the returns that I've gotten to this point, and I think you should feel the same way. So we'll see with Luke Jackson moving forward, but Chris Martin absolutely should be added. I think Robert Garcia, in most leagues, if you have space, might not be a bad idea to add him either with the uncertainty with Jackson and his health. Logan Gilbert is set to throw a bullpen session today, which is great news. George Kirby's progressing as well. So both Kirby and Gilbert have a shot to be back before the end of the month, which is great news. Gilbert seems to be a little bit further behind. Maybe it's June. But let's say a month from now, inside that time frame, both Gilbert and Kirby should be back in the lineup, which is great news. I'll continue to monitor this. Obviously, Gilbert, concerns about the elbow and his importance in the game, being durable and everything was one of his great traits. And of course, that's how that went this year. Jose Quintana, if you learn how to pronounce his name, is going to have his start move back to Friday because of left shoulder soreness. Quintana's on the fringe of being a starter anyway in mixed leagues. It's more about the matchups, right? Do you feel good about pitching him on Friday against the Twins? At this point, I don't think you can. having the start pushed back because of shoulder soreness. Maybe it's nothing that, again, he's Jose Quintana. He knows how to pitch through things, and he's been around forever. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about starting him this week. Now, Brandon Woodruff, who we were hoping would be back this week for the Brewers. This is a very odd scenario that played itself out here. And it's a scenario that can be discussed thusly. His time on the farm was running out. So I don't know if they invented an injury for him. I don't know if that's a fair way to put it. But he's now got an ankle issue that's going to extend his time on the farm. He threw 39 pitches in his game on Sunday. I guess the ankle was a little bit, so he's going to have one more minor league rehab assignment. It sounds like, so it looks like, it's a couple of weeks away still. Again, we were hoping it was this week, but now the ankle's there. I don't know how much of this is the ankle versus they just want to get him a little more time, right? He's quote unquote injured, but it sounds like a delay. So hopefully he's back in the majors. I guess there's a chance after his next outing, the follow-up outing being with the Brewers, but depends on that pitch count and how he feels and what they see in him. So it is possible that it's the first week of June with him too, which again, in the grand scheme, he's come back from shoulder surgery. Okay. But they're taking their time. They want to be sure. We'll see how it goes with Brandon Woodruff. Okay. Well, there's a couple more situations to talk about. Number one, Tanner Houck. There had been one starter in the Red Sox history of this organization, where a pitcher allowed 10 runs and didn't complete 3 innings. It was Doug Bird back in 1983. Happened one time in the history of this organization. It happened to Tanner Houck on April 14th. It happened to Tanner Houck last night. I had Tanner Houck going in my FSGA league. I lost a spot in the standings last night because of Tanner Houck. I'm sure any of you that were pitching him, same thing. Let me reiterate this. In the 100-year plus history of this team, 3 innings or less with 10 runs or more happened one single time. The Red Sox allowed Tanner Houck to do it twice in a month. Now, we talked about this on the show, Justin Fenchman and I, last night. I'm not absolving Tanner Houck, who pitched like ass. What I will say that this is criminal management. Criminal to allow a pitcher to go out there and get his brains beaten in once is terrible. To allow it to happen twice is freaking, I think it's fireable. Now you're going to say, Ray, that's ridiculous. And you're probably right. It's me overreacting. What kind of system are we exposing players to nowadays? If a guy clearly doesn't have it, clearly does not have it, who a month ago got 7 outs and gave up 12 runs, 11 of them earned. A month ago, you've seen this exact situation play itself out a month ago, where the guy just doesn't have it and he gets blasted. So we go to last night, he doesn't have it. You let him get blasted again? You let him go out there and only get 7 outs again and give up 11 earned runs again? Tell me, isn't that criminal? Like what? And this is the larger problem we have here is that teams, the way they manage their rosters anymore, what are you going to do? The only choice they had last night is what they did. They brought Sean Newcomb in. That's the only choice they have. Teams don't keep guys in reserve anymore to pitch these innings. So it's Sean Newcomb, and then it's, random backup middle infielder. Like that's what it is. We've got a problem in baseball. Got a problem where management leaves guys in to get obliterated. Obliterated. Like, and I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but his career with the Red Sox, in essence, could be over, Tanner Houck. It's very possible that Dobbins stays in the rotation when Walker Buehler returns from his shoulder issue. He's going to throw a couple of bullpen sessions. They hope that he's going to be back next week. So when Walker Buehler returns, we were thinking Dobbins would be out of the rotation. Now you got to think it's Houck that's out of the rotation. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know the behind-the-scenes stuff, but does Tanner Houck even want to be a Red Sox anymore? Like, when your management, when your manager sitting there on the bench is not going to protect you when you need help. 4 2/3 innings, 3 runs. Great management, Boston. Great work. Tyler Mahle, before we talk to Armando Marsal about some football stuff. We'll finish on a high note. Let's finish on a positive note. Tyler Mahle, someone we talked about a lot here on the show. 6 1/3 innings, of 1-run ball last night against the Rockies. The Rockies are awful. Early in the year, we were saying pitch everyone against the White Sox. Hopefully by now you realize pitch everyone against the Rockies. They're freaking awful. Tyler Mahle has a 1.47 ERA and a 0.96 whip. If there was a pitcher with the Rangers that was doing this, it would be Jacob deGrom, right? Okay. That's the lowest ERA by a starting pitcher in Rangers history through 9 starts. The history of this organization. Tyler, it's 9 starts. I know it's a random number, but he's only made 9 starts. 1.47. It's the lowest in team history. Now, he's got 37 strikeouts in 49 innings. We've talked about this. Obviously, we all know the numbers are going up. Obviously, we know there's concerns coming back from injury about how many innings he's going to be able to pitch. I don't know if you could trade Tyler Mahle for a king's ransom. The numbers say yes. The numbers say stardom. Beneath the hood? Yeah. So you might say to yourself, Ray, I don't care if this guy's a league average pitcher. I picked him up off the waiver wire. Totally fair. Ray, I don't care if this guy implodes and turns into Tanner Houck. I've already gotten this. Totally fair. You might say to me, Ray, I can make a trade offer for him, but I'm not getting anything in return. Okay. So the question about whether you hang on to Mahle or not, I think depends upon what the return is and what your situation is. But just a shout out to a dude who's been an absolute superstar. Absolute superstar. John P says, Gusto got blasted last night against KC. Ouch. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Houck, but was it 7 runs, and he went 2 1/3 innings too, I think. He was terrible, just awful. Kyle with a question here, by the way, before we talk some football. Pirates brought up Paul Skeens on May 11th, or 2024. They are at home all week. Do you see Bubba Chandler next week, in your opinion? It's a good question. And the answer is possibly. We've talked about Chandler on this show. I think that if Chandler is on the waiver wire in your league, now is the time to make the move. Because there's a handful of players that when they get the promotion, the universe is going to go bananas. When Chandler gets the promotion, the universe is going to go bananas. Number one, waiver priority is spent. Hundreds of dollars of fab are spent. So get ahead of it and get Chandler now. I think it's very reasonable. He's pitched great. The time frame, as you're noting, Kyle, here makes sense historically and just logically. I think that there's a very real possibility that we see him called up in short order. There's no reason not to, unless the Pirates are trying to figure out Super 2, and we don't have a date of Super 2 until after the year anyway. I think we're about at that point. So I think it makes sense. So to answer your question, Kyle, yeah, I think it's very reasonable. I don't have any inside information. I think it's very reasonable, though. I think you're reading the situation accurately. I think adding Bubba Chandler right now makes sense. So if you had the opportunity to do it, I am not against it at all. All right, so that's some baseball talk. You can always go to fantasyguru.com, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Remember, and I haven't talked about this yet, remember, we do have the baseball package right now available. There it is on the screen. $75 for the rest of the season. Everything we do in baseball, everything. All the seasonal content, all the rankings, all the articles, all the DFS write-ups, cheat sheets, Discord access to talk about your team, the wagering aspect of things. If you want to make some cash, I'm doing, total base and hit run RBI props. We got Jeff Mans doing parlays. We got Ted Schuster doing a little bit of everything. We got MLB Model doing game stuff. Join us at fantasyguru.com. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Get all the football products for the rest of the season for one low price of $75. All the baseball. I think I just said football. All the baseball stuff at fantasyguru.com. $75 the rest of the way. Everything we do, all the Discord rooms, all the articles, all the advice. fantasyguru.com, top right corner, or send a note to support at fantasyguru.com. Support at fantasyguru.com. Okay. On Tuesdays, we talk some football with Armando Marsal, and I know that I did say football because I have a little green room down here, and I can see Armando when he comes in and all that kind of stuff, and he smiled. So I must have said, Armando, did I say football accidentally?
You did say football accidentally. Listen, it's football is always a topic of conversation. But listen to Ray, guys. If you haven't already done so, go check out the MLB pack. So much content it's a really great price with all the content that's out there. So go check it out. I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. I won my season long, and I'm bragging, all right? I'm going to continue to brag. I won my season long league last year using all of the content that he's talking about right here. So definitely go check that out.
Thank you, Armando. I appreciate that. And congrats on your success. You can send the check to my address when you get a chance. Thanks for joining us today on Tuesday. Are you planning on joining Justin Fensterman tomorrow on the show, by the way, on Wednesday?
I unfortunately cannot. I have to take my daughter that she's taking a math test for school, and it's a place where she has to go and kind of take the test. So I got to take her there tomorrow. But I told Justin I'll be on the following week right with him. I will be on tonight's roster coach with Tyler Beaker and Rich Melello. So we'll be talking some football this evening there at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, that's every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern. That's the live stream for football. So check that out over at FG. Still doing a little basketball too? You're still floating around with that?
I'm dabbling, but not as much as I was a couple of weeks ago. We're really hitting those team previews over at, on the Mind of Marsal podcast. This afternoon, AFC North will launch. Tyler and I talk in depth about the AFC North. So keep an eye out for that there. And we did AFC East and West last week. If you haven't already done so, check those out. That could be found there at fantasyguru.com as well.
Yeah, click that Elite Plus tab at the top of the page where you can find this show. You can also find Mind of Marsal from Armando. Tyler Beaker joins us every Thursday. He'll be on tomorrow at 12:30 or Thursday, 12:30 Eastern time. He was a good soldier. He mentioned this podcast series on his visit last week. So you can give him a shout out, Armando. He's doing some good cross promoting here.
He's also posting a written version of these team previews, by the way. It's on the site. So make sure you're checking those out as well. He does a good in-depth breakdown for each of those team previews there.
Yeah, and click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Get signed up for any of the products, not just baseball, any of the products over at fantasyguru.com. Let's talk some football, Armando. Now that we've got all the where you can find all us out of the way. You can find him, by the way, at Armando_Marsal on Twitter X. Derek Carr situation with the Saints, I don't know if we need a 30 for 30 in a couple years to describe what really happened. But the bottom line is all of a sudden he's retired. Like this just ended. Like no one knew he was hurt 2 months ago, and now his career is over. So this is really strange. But the bottom line is the Saints, I guess Tyler Houck is the quarterback now. I mean, I guess that's what we're going to get here. So who is Tyler Houck? Remind us again. And what does this offense look like with Derek Carr out?
I mean, let's not forget Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers still out there.
True.
I don't know what's going to happen here. Obviously, this offense takes a big negative hit without Carr here. They weren't prepared to be without Carr this upcoming season, at least, based on their moves, based on the roster. So it's a situation that right now, if you're drafting, I'm avoiding. I'm not going to be investing in, but it's a situation to keep a close eye on because I do think that they're going to be making a play here for a quarterback, whether they bring in a veteran, whether there's a last-minute trade, someone unexpected, like maybe there's a backup quarterback, that has starting experience that they're going to go with here. But this definitely does not look promising for the Saints' outlook in 2025. And this offense, it was an offense that I don't want to say anyone was excited about it by any means, but I think now is one of those situations where you look at it and say there's not much interest in investing in this offense here in 2025 as things stand today. So just a bad situation, right? A team that really started off the season, the first couple of weeks, pretty good. And then the train derailed really quickly there. And it looks like it's still off the tracks here. So the 2025 outlook for the New Orleans Saints, not that great at this moment.
You mentioned Rodgers, you mentioned Cousins, and there are still rumors, of course, about Rodgers in particular, but Cousins too, ending up with the Steelers. You mentioned the fact that, I don't know how the Saints on the surface are saying we're fine with Houck. Are they?
No.
Who are the Steelers? Let's assume Rodgers is there. We've talked a lot about, is he going to go there and what the hell is he going to Who are the Steelers? Let's assume he goes there. That seems to be what's going to happen. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers, obviously Pickens is out of the mix now. He's traded to the Cowboys. Who is Aaron Rodgers this year, and who are the Steelers this year if they're a connection? And we basically look at Rodgers' numbers last year from the Jets and say, yeah, that's basically what we're going to get again this year with him. It seems on paper, again, like a really good fit. They've got the defense. They've got the coaching staff. Let's have an offense that, keeps us in the game and controls the ball and doesn't turn it over. It seems like a great fit on the surface, Armando.
I think it is a good fit for on the surface, right? Like if you're looking at it from a non-fantasy perspective, I think he can go in there. I think he'll win you games. I think he can, keep you competitive. This is a team, you mentioned, a very elite defense. They've added, pieces to the backfield here. I know they don't have Najee Harris, but they added a running back in the draft. So a team that we know likes to run the football. They added DK Metcalf here, a major outside threat. A team that's built to win now, for the exception of the quarterback position, right? Like the Steelers are always one of those teams that are going to compete there in the AFC North. So I think they're going to continue to compete so long as they get a quarterback like Rodgers. Right now, when you look at things, Mason Rudolph, no. Skylar Thompson, look, I have a signed rookie card from Skylar Thompson. It's not worth anything, all right? It's just sitting there collecting dust, not worth anything. I don't think his career resurrects here by any means. Will Howard is 6th-round quarterback. No, they need a quarterback. This is a team that if they want to continue to win, they have to address the quarterback position. I've read the same reports you have. Very optimistic that Rodgers is going to play there. Do I think he ends up there? Yeah, I think it makes sense. If he wants to continue playing football, I do think it makes sense. If he wants to give himself a shot at winning or at competing, into the postseason and maybe making a run, I think this is a very good fit. The Jets was never that fit for him if you're looking to win championships. It just wasn't. I do think that this is a team that is ready to win. And they're just a couple of pieces away, including that quarterback position. So do I think Rodgers, as far as fantasy, has a lot left in the tank? No, QB2 for me, not one that I want to start in a single quarterback league. So that's what I would view him from a fantasy standpoint here.
Armando Marsal of fantasyguru.com. Joins us every Tuesday here on the show, and on Wednesdays with Justin Fensterman, while I'm over with Jeff Mans on the Elite Sports Show on Sirius XM. Next up, it feels like the Niners window's gone, right? They've made all kinds of changes. Their defense has bled people this offseason. Guys are getting older. They were there. They had the chance. It didn't hit. Now they still have Christian McCaffrey. We know that Shanahan's offense, as we see continually, because they all get hurt. Whoever's the running back in this team is a weekly starter. Christian McCaffrey's ability to catch passes and do everything on the football field is still pretty elite. The question obviously is snap count and touch count. The reports with McCaffrey are he looks awesome. He's feeling great. We're going to get him the ball a ton this year. They're going to need to do that if we're being objective, if they want to win football games. So the question is, right now, and it's early, it's May. Is McCaffrey somebody you're going to say to me, Ray, he's a running back one? Okay. Are you then going to follow up with, I'm drafting him? Are you going to be drafting Christian McCaffrey or not? You're going to let someone else do that?
So I still view him as a top 12 running back because of everything you said, right? Any running back in this Kyle Shanahan system is going to be intriguing to me, so long as they're healthy, because we've known the success has been there for year in and year out. Like it's now multiple years we've seen this, right? Running backs have very, very much success in this offense, this scheme. So yes, I do think McCaffrey healthy would produce, RB1 numbers. Do I want to take the risk? It really depends on the kind of volume I'm doing this season, right? Like if I'm drafting 100 teams, I'll probably have 5-10% Christian McCaffrey. I'm not going to overinvest. If I'm doing one season-long league, chances are I'm not going to be paying the price for Christian McCaffrey. I'll look elsewhere in my draft, just because you mentioned, he's the injury history right now that we've seen in the last couple of years. Durability is an issue. He's getting up there in age. And can he really sustain 20 opportunities per game at this stage of his career? I don't know that. Yes, he looks great. The reports suggest that he's looking great. One thing is looking great. One thing is feeling great. One thing is feeling great after 3 weeks of football where you're getting 20 touches a week. That's very different. So it for me, I don't want to give you a gray answer when it comes to McCaffrey, but I'm not going out of my way to invest in him. If there's a good opportunity to buy in a draft, I will. And if I'm doing basically, if I'm doing 100 best ball drafts, there's a good chance I'll have 5-10% of him simply out of, just to diversify my player portfolio. That would be it. Not because I'm all in on McCaffrey or anything. I still view him as a top 10 back, but I do think he comes with a lot of risk.
Armando Marsal at fantasyguru.com. The Giants took Cam Skattebo in the draft this year, and obviously there's a lot of interest in the dynasty space. Let's talk seasonal with him. They've obviously got Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary. Tracy showed very well last season. Had ball control issues, though. In theory, Skattebo seems like he could be the short yardage guy, with Tracy being the early down guy. We're also hearing, though, a report from SNY that Skattebo could end up as a third down back. So if Skattebo's the third down back and the goal line back, well, that pretty much adios Tyrone Tracy, right? Because then he's just a dude. It's too early to know, but what's your read? If you had to guesstimate how the touch count's going to play out in the backfield, what do you think with the Giants?
So I'm still viewing Tracy as RB3 at this moment, and I do think Skattebo will take away some opportunities based on what we've read and whatnot. But again, it's a situation where you got to see it play out. I think if you're drafting Tracy right now, if you're doing best ball drafts right now, invest in Skattebo as a handcuff, right? Because there's an opportunity. There's going to be opportunity for him here. When you look at his backfield, it's not one that's filled with a ton of options to compete. So I do think that Tracy, RB3, flex option, Skattebo, definitely a good handcuff. I could see, we know that he has good pass catching skills. So there's a chance that he does come in for some pass down work in PPR formats. That'll be very appealing for those investing in Skattebo here. So yeah, it's too early to tell. And one big thing about rookie running backs, and I'll say this anytime we talk about, he has to be able to pass protect, right? Like if he cannot pass protect, that's going to limit some of those opportunities that they're discussing. So keep an eye on those little reports. Is he doing well in pass protection? Look at the preseason, look in training camp, kind of see if there's any report or indication of where he's at. From what I've read, he's pretty good at pass protecting, based on his profile or whatnot. But again, we won't know until we see it out there in the field. So it's a situation where nothing really has changed before the draft to now. It's just now there's a little bit more competition behind Tracy.
I love this report from Jeremy Fowler that says there are people around the league that think that the new regime in Jacksonville is not that high in Etienne. You think? After they drafted multiple running backs? You think? They drafted multiple running backs, Tootin, Allen. There have been rumors that Etienne might have been traded during the draft. So I think that's obviously a duh statement. The real question is, and Jeff Mans talked about this the other day on the Elite Sports Show, and he's like, I want to be involved here because Liam Cohen, and I think that this is going to be great. And we saw it with Tampa Bay. What are we doing here? I mean, it's Etienne, it's Bigsby, it's Tootin, Allen. Like, you're down there in Florida. Help us out.
It's messy, right? It's messy. It's very clear that there's concerns about Etienne and that maybe the team and the franchise, they're not that high on him. But I still view him as an RB3 right now. I think there's going to be some type of committee. We saw it in Tampa, right? We saw with Irving, we saw with White, we saw a committee. It's a situation worth monitoring closely. I don't know if I want to be overly invested in the Jacksonville Jaguars backfield. I do think it's going to be a messy situation. But right now, despite all these reports, it's Etienne's job to lose, in my opinion, right? Like, I think that there's going to be a committee of some sort. I do think he'll be the head of that committee, at least to start the season. Will he continue to be that? I'm not sure. It's just a very messy situation. And I think it's a lot of speculation. There's nothing concrete right now about this backfield. There's zero concrete. You just have to basically continue to monitor reports. Maybe he is on the move. And if he's on the move, will he be an RB1 wherever he lands, or will he be a complimentary back? Right now, I do think that he's the primary back in Jacksonville, but that doesn't mean that he's going to get 80, 70% of those opportunities. So I'm not too interested in this backfield right now as things stand.
What about the backfield with the Bills? It seems like it's settled. They got James Cook, who's coming off a phenomenal season. They've got Ray Davis as a support piece. You also, Josh Allen obviously still some work at the goal line on that, but it seems like everything last year went pretty well for the Bills. Well, James Cook said, yeah, it did go pretty well, and I want to get paid. And he floated out there $15 million a year, which Bills aren't paying him $15 million a year. They're paying their quarterback $110 million a year. They're not paying him $15 million a year. He was asked at a celebrity tournament over the weekend, hey, what are you doing with this contract thing? And he's like, kind of no comment. It's like, well, he's holding out. If they don't pay him, he's holding out. That's certainly what it sounds like. We don't know how this is going to play out. But my advice would be, if you draft James Cook, 100% take Ray Davis. If you don't take Ray Davis, and I don't care what Ray Davis ADP is, you've got to get Ray Davis if you take James Cook. You've got to get him, and that means jumping ADP, you jump ADP. What are your thoughts on the Bills' backfield? Do you agree with what I just said? Or would you just take Ray Davis and not worry about James Cook? Or are you just out on this backfield because it's a mess right now?
So we talked about this in depth on episode 99 of the Mind of Marsal podcast. And I'm buying Ray Davis this year. I think like a lot of people had high expectations and he was drafted. His ADP has come down from last year, and I think this is the time to buy on Ray Davis because of the situation with James Cook. I think it gets itself sorted out, right? When you look at these running backs, like you're not going to get that kind of money in a lot of places unless you are elite, right? And when you look at James Cook, he's a very good running back. I'm not discrediting him at all. But a lot of his production came from touchdowns last year, right? 16 rushing touchdowns, all right, 2 receiving touchdowns. And even though he had 18 total touchdowns, he was RB8. It wasn't like he finished RB1 or RB2. Like you're talking about 18 total touchdowns here. I don't mind taking James Cook in drafts right now, but I'm far more bullish on Ray Davis than I am on James Cook. It's one of those situations where if I'm in the draft and I feel like the rest of my roster makes sense and I'm in need of a running back, yeah, I'll take James Cook. Now, Ray Davis, I'm going out of my way to get him every single time I can. I do think that, number one, he'll become that RB1 if James Cook were to miss any time. And I think he'll get more opportunities this year than he did last season for this backfield. And this is an offense you want to be invested in. So, yes, to answer your question, I agree with you. I'm on James Cook. I'm far more bullish on Ray Davis this year.
Armando, Marsal of fantasyguru.com. Let's talk a little bit about the Texans scenario. Obviously, things are changing. They've lost Tank Dell for the season. It sounds like that's the expectation. Obviously, Nico Collins is there. They're trying to change things up on offense. They're trying to become a little more impressive through the air as they were during Stroud's rookie season. Things kind of pulled back last year. They add Christian Kirk. They dropped a couple of rookies in Higgins and Noel. It makes sense that Kirk plays the slot the majority of the time, right? And is the number 2 target to start the year. Is that how you're seeing it, number one? And number two, how long does it last? Just because that's the way it is in week 1 doesn't mean it's that way in week 6. Are you more bullish on Noel or Higgins when it comes to their 2025 outlook?
Higgins. I would be more. I'm more bullish on Higgins. I actually took Higgins in round 2 of my rookie only draft. When it started this week, so at some point this week, whenever I took him, I did take Higgins as my number in my number 2 with my number 2 pick in the rookie only draft. I like the outlook for him. So I think it's Nico Collins, number 1. It's pretty obvious. I think Nico Collins has emerged as a superstar in the league. He's shown that he can be that number 1 wide receiver, and I don't see that changing at all for him. I think Christian Kirk will be that slot receiver for the Texans. We kind of saw this dynamic how it worked, right? With Stephon Diggs last year in the slot. I think we're going to see a very similar role for Christian Kirk. And then I think Higgins is going to kind of play that Tank Dell role on the outside as well, right? So I think that when you look at Higgins, am I investing in him in a redraft league right now to start every week? Probably not. I like the long-term outlook a little bit more. Because I do think that his production, if everyone's healthy, assuming everyone's healthy here with Kirk, Collins, all of these players, I don't know if there's going to be a consistent amount of volume on a week-to-week basis for in a redraft league for you to make that kind of investment on Higgins. In best ball, sure. In Dynasty, absolutely, because the long-term outlook here. But from a redraft perspective, I don't know if I want to go all in on Higgins or not. Maybe a late round draft, something you kind of wait and see approach. But I do think it's going to be Collins dominating the targets. I think Kirk, so long as he's healthy, he'll probably be number 2 in the pecking order as a slot receiver. And then I think Higgins will be that number 3 wide receiver there for Houston in 2025.
A final situation, we'll go back to Florida. You're wearing the Dolphins sweatshirt right now, so why not ask you about the Dolphins? Tyreek Hill, wrist injury last year. He's had multiple surgeries. Some people freaked out. There was always a plan to have the second surgery with the pin removal and everything. So it doesn't seem like there's a problem there. There's videos of him on the balcony with his kid. And the guy's always doing something. But the bottom line is, for now, he's a Dolphin. It does not seem likely that he's going to be traded. It seems like he's going to open the season as the number 1 wide receiver for the Dolphins. What are your thoughts on him in terms of his value this season? And we don't talk about cuffing receivers, and it's like, I don't really think that's a smart thing to do. But if you're going to invest an early round draft pick in Tyreek Hill, would you consider throwing a dart later at Malik Washington? Does that make any sense in what world, in our world or any world?
All right. So number 1, I'm out on Tyreek Hill. I'm absolutely out on Tyreek Hill. I think if you go back to last year, like yes, he was productive when he was on the field, I guess you could say, right? At times, not very consistent, but he's on and off the field a lot, right? He is on and off the field a lot. I think that's a concern for me when you look at Tyreek Hill. In addition to that, you have the fact that he's, I guess, disgruntled here in Miami, I guess is the right way to say it. He wants out of Miami. He's been very vocal about it. So I think there's just too many red flags with Tyreek Hill to invest in him this year for me. And then as far as handcuffing receivers, I never do that. Now, being that I'm not drafting Tyreek Hill, if you want to take some late round flyers on Malik Washington, sure. I don't know if anything is going to become of Malik Washington this year, if Hill plays or if he doesn't. We know that I think he was 45. Let me pull that up 1 second. Yeah, he played 45% of the offensive snaps last year. This is Malik Washington. He played 14 games, had 36 targets. So not a ton of targets going to Malik Washington here. I think if Hill were to miss or sit or anything like that, I think Smith becomes a big part of this offense, even bigger than what he was last year. I think we saw that last year. And I think Waldo will also see a significant increase. But it's very difficult to trust anyone else here because of how this offense operates and what we've seen. Etienne is another one that's going to see a lot of opportunities out of backfield in the pass catching department. So we know where the ball is going. Whether Washington could take a step forward this year or not, that remains to be seen. But is it going to be enough to be an every week starter for fantasy managers? I'm just not quite sure there's going to be enough volume for him for that.
By the way, they did add Nick Westbrook-Ikhine too. So
correct.
He's in the mix there as well. We got a comment here from Kyle. Let's address that before we open up a pack of cards, Armando. Woo!
Yes.
Kyle asked, any thoughts on early stacks and combinations for best ball drafts aside from Cincy, KC, and Philadelphia? I have been targeting the Bucks. I will say this, Kyle, over at fantasyguru.com, we have full best ball rankings from Tyler Beaker. He posted them months ago for that first round. He just posted them last week, I think it was, for this round. So, and I think he's going to be doing multiple sets of best ball rankings for different websites. So check that out over at the site. Armando, I fully admit it. I'm so involved in DFS and betting and trying to learn all these rookies and doing this. I'm not involved at all in best ball when it comes to football. I know you're probably involved a little bit. I'm assuming. I don't know that either. Do you have an answer for Kyle to this question, or shall we just say check out Tyler's work over at FG?
Well, I'm always gonna defer to Tyler. Okay. When it comes to best ball, I'm always gonna. He's already drafting, and I've been very open about this in my podcast, and I'm saying that I haven't done one single best ball draft yet. I look at things, I look at the numbers, I look at ADP, but I haven't done any best ball drafts. I will say this, yes, stacking Cincy makes a lot of sense for me. I like the idea of stacking New England. We kind of talked about that. I like Denver stacks. But again, I haven't done any stacks, so I don't want to sit here and say I have this stack. I don't have any stacks. I have 0 best ball drafts done. I like waiting a little bit longer, Ray. There's just so much uncertainty right now. I know there's an edge to drafting now.
Right.
But look, you can't go wrong with Cincy stacks. We talked about Kansas City in the last podcast. We like Patrick Mahomes. We like the receiving group here. There are a couple of options you could go with. I think Philly, these are pretty chalky stacks, right? Like you look at Bucks I think they're going to be pretty popular as well. So for me, look, Denver is a stack that I'm looking to do there with Bo Nix this season. I like the idea of New England stacks. You got Henry, you got Diggs. I don't think you're paying premium prices for any of those guys. You can invest in the backfield as well with Henderson there now. Drake May is a rushing quarterback. So I think those are 2 stacks that I'd be looking at here. But you know what? I'm always going to say yes to Cincy, by the way. I'm always going to say yes to Cincy. Like for me, yes. So, again, it's not a great answer here that I'm giving Kyle because, but I'm just giving you a couple stacks off the top of my head that I'm, just players I'm interested in. But if you want, Kyle, send me a DM. And we'll talk this one out. Send me a DM in Discord, and we'll talk this one out. There's a couple of players I like or whatnot, that we could form stacks with. But right now, I haven't done any best balls, so I don't want to mislead you in any way.
Kyle, here's my advice: don't stack Saints. Okay, we'll move on.
Yeah, don't do that. don't do that.
Don't do that.
Look, Houston stacks are good too.
You know I mean, again, Detroit could be good, but they're pricey. The Rams, but they're pricey. So hit up Armando and he'll help you out over in Discord at fantasyguru.com. All right, Armando. Before we let you go, it's become kind of a tradition here on the show. We do a little pack break here on the show. Armando and I, look at a bunch of mustaches from back in the day. That seems to be what we end up doing most weeks.
Trend.
Yeah, right. It's a trend. What are we doing this week? What do we got?
We brought it back. Oh wait. Oh, hold up. I have to. Sorry. Let me see here. All right, we got it there. All right, we brought it back right here. So we have the tops, the big tops. We had this. This is the one I think we had last week or the week before.
What, year 1990?
We are
91. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Oh, come on. It's
hidden.
It is hidden. Hold
open up the package, look at the back. We'll know by the stats.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I'm doing here. All right. So the pack looked good.
Okay, it doesn't look opened. That's always a positive.
And these are 1990.
Okay.
Yeah. This pack is definitely brand. It's never been open, I think.
Last time you had this, you said the glue was pretty stiff on it, right?
Yeah, this is the one. You see, I'm having trouble again. This is cool because it has like a little comic in the back. I like these. All right, there we go. All right, man, these and the edges are really nice too. Hopefully, look, the paint came off a little bit of this first card here.
Wow.
It's Terry Kennedy, so I don't think it's worth much.
He had a decent, career, but yeah, not a big loss there. As you can see there, show the back too, Armando, for those people that went with us last week. This card is really cool because it's got the cartoon.
Yeah,
It's Edward Kennedy. It's got some colors on the front. On the back, then on the front, it's got a picture of the guy's face and an action shot. It's a nice little look. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So it says, I'm my brother's catcher. Terry's brother, Bob Kennedy Jr., pitched in the minors. That's the fun fact we have on Kennedy here.
I did not know that, actually. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. From 1971 to 1975.
Four-time All-Star, Terry Kennedy. He's had a pretty good career. Played for the Giants a little bit.
Yeah.
At the end, yeah. Last 3 years of his career with the Giants.
Okay. See? Learn something new every day, Ray.
Yeah, there you go.
I know this guy, Danny Tartabull.
Danny Tartabull is really good. Danny Tartabull, I want to say he hit 34 home runs 1 year. Danny Tartabull was an All-Star a couple times, if I'm not mistaken. One-time All-Star. Yeah, 34 home runs, 101 RBIs in 1987. My old video game memories. He had 300 that year. Was top 20 in the MVP vote twice in his career, including that season. Top 5 in Rookie of the Year vote. He had 25 home runs, 96 RBIs as a rookie. That's pretty good.
Yeah. He played on the 1979 American Legion National Championship team. Fun facts.
I did not. American Legion, I think, is 17, 18-year-olds, I think. Is that right? I think
did he go to high school in Miami?
Let's see here.
I want to see. I think he.
Yeah, Miami Gardens, Carroll City High School.
He went to high school with my father. There you go.
Wow.
Yes, he actually played softball with my dad. I didn't want to say that, but that's why I double checked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Third round draft pick in 1980 out of Carroll City High School.
Carroll City High School, yeah. My dad went to that high school.
Wow.
My dad played softball and baseball with him.
Just think in 20 years you could say you worked with me. Look at that. Same thing.
Yeah, right? In 20 years, my son, my dad used to do shows with Ray Flowers.
Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. Wallace Johnson here.
Oh, I don't remember Wallace Johnson. What's the fun fact with Wallace? I don't remember him.
Wallace has helped several players prepare their income tax returns. That's fun.
Wow, Wallace Johnson was a CPA, huh?
He's a CPA / first baseman. There you go.
He was from Indiana. That's where he went to. He's 68 years old now. 569 career at bats. He had a 9-year career, but he only had 569 at bats. So he floated around for a while. CPA.
Yeah, there you go.
Good thing to have in the locker room.
Dan Plesac.
Dan Plesac, who a lot of people probably know now as an announcer. He's on MLB Network. But Dan Plesac retired. I don't have the exact number, but I want to say he's like top 5 all time in appearances.
Oh, really?
1,064 games.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me see. All-time MLB appearances. If I can pull it up real quickly. But I want to say he's up there. Well, it helps you. I got a lab appearance. No, how about MLB? What did I type? The Google machine is not my
M Labs.
Yeah, right. Career records for appearances. No, for pitchers. Oh my gosh, I'll find it. Here we go. Records for pitchers. Dan Plesac is number 7 all time. Number 1 was Jesse Orosco, who we had a card of a while ago, the Met reliever. But yeah, Dan Plesac number 7 all time in appearances. So I wasn't wrong. Yay.
So in 1988, he converted 9 consecutive save opportunities.
He had a season of 30 saves, 33 saves, and 24 saves there to start his career. It's so funny. He had, he had 158 career saves. And after his first 5 years in the league, he had a high of 11. So it was all at the start. He was a really closer at the start, and then he just became that left-handed reliever out of the bullpen.
Well, according to Kyle, he had a rubber band for an arm.
It's totally, he did. See, Kyle, that's why he's top 7 all time in appearances. You got it, Kyle.
All right, we got Kevin Seitzer.
Kevin Seitzer hit 323 one year. Is that right? Come on, don't fail me now, Ray. What do we got? Kevin Seitzer hit 323 in 1987. In his best year, he was second in the Rookie of the Year voting, hit 323 with 15 home runs, 207 hits, led baseball in hits.
Wow.
He was a decent little player. And his career numbers, Armando, 295 career average with a 375 on base percentage. Like that's a really good major league career over 12 years.
Yeah, it is. And did you know he belted his first big league grand slam on August 30, 1987?
Like this guy led the league as a rookie in it, plate appearances and hits. And they're talking about some random grand slam. That's a weird. Come on, Tops, do better than that.
Yeah. This is 1990.
Right.
I don't know when
87 and 87 was his rookie year, but I'm saying like, come on, like
yeah, I agree.
The guy hit 74 career home runs. He wasn't even a home run hitter. Like that's weird. Anyway, I did not know that.
Well, we got Marty Barrett here.
Marty Barrett was second baseman for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
He's a decent. He was never. I think he might have had a year and a half where he was of interest in the fantasy space back in the day. No real power. Kind of just slapped the ball around the field and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at him here. Yeah, like his rookie year, he hit 303. He had one solid season where he scored 94 runs, stole 15 bases. So yeah, decent little player.
And the fun fact here is he stole home in a game at Baltimore in June of 1988. So not much fun fact for that.
No, he only stole 7 bases that year. So one of them was a steal home. That's a pretty good ratio, 1 for 7.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got Mike Henneman.
Who's third base. I remember the name. I don't really remember the game much. Let's see if there's anything noteworthy.
It looks like he's playing third base, but they have him here as a pitcher.
He's a pitcher, right? Yeah, you're right. I misremembered. Mike Henneman had 7 seasons of 20 saves.
And then he had earned a save in 7 consecutive appearances in 1988. So he and what was the other one? And Dan.
Dan Plesac?
He and Dan. They had good 1988 seasons there.
That's 7 years of 20 saves, pretty good.
Yeah.
Not a bad career. Yeah.
And we got Pedro Guerrero here.
Oh, Pedro, look at the hair.
Yeah.
Pedro was fun as all hell to watch hit. He could really hit. And unfortunately, I got to see a lot of it because he was on the Dodgers forever against the Giants, our arch rivals when I was a kid. Because he started his career in 1978. So he was on the Dodgers like when I was 5 years old, right? So like growing up, I hated him because he was really, every time he played the Giants, it seemed like he killed them. And I mean, he had a period from 82 to 85. So 3 of 4 years, he hit 30 home runs while batting 300. Like, really, he was a really good ball player. I did not like him as a kid.
And the fun fact here, he provided tickets for underprivileged kids to attend games. What a guy. What a good guy.
And no one talks about Pedro Guerrero. 15 years, his career batting average is 300 with a 370 on base percentage. Pretty good. I know it was an offensive era, but pretty good damn hitter, Pedro Guerrero. And it seems like he was a nice guy too, so good for Pedro.
And that's it. These are small packs. Eight cards. Next week I'll bring on you. Let's get a new pack. I actually pulled up some new packs with my kids this week, and it was fun.
Okay.
You got some. I pulled this one out. I don't know if you see that.
What do we get? It's a refractor of Brandon Donovan?
Yeah.
Is it a refractor? I don't know the cards
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. It's like a teal refractor. Yeah. These are Topps Heritage cards.
There's like 3 levels of refractors now or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when those first came out, those were like,
really
cool. Let's get the refractors. They're dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we got a couple good ones here.
Okay.
I did baseball and I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Duke Ellis. It's a rookie card here.
Not familiar with him at the moment.
It wasn't a great pull. We did get Spencer Rattler here.
Oh, there you go. The Rattler.
Yeah, it's not worth anything.
Duke Ellis was a 20th round pick in 2017. He's 27 years old, and he's never had an at bat at the big league level. That may not be the best pull.
No, that's not a good card, Ray. That's okay.
Oh wait, I take it back. He had 11. He had 5 at bats last year, so I take it back. 5 at bats.
Still not a good card, Ray.
Yeah,
still not a good card. All right, it's okay.
5 at bats at 27. You're probably not gonna start, but you never know. You never know. Crazy things do happen sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Armando, it's always fun opening up the packs to you on Tuesday. It's fun talking football with you. As you noted earlier, people can find your Mind of Marsal podcast. You're doing a whole series breaking down divisions right now with Tyler Beaker. Go to fantasyguru.com, click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. You can find this show as well as Armando's show and the other shows, including Jeff Mann's One Man's Opinion on the network. Armando's going to be on with the crew tonight on the Tuesday live stream over at fantasyguru.com talking football. He's just a guy that kind of does it all. A little bit of basketball, a lot of football, a little bit of baseball with us here. So Armando, thanks a lot. We appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next week and have a good one.
Yes. Thanks so much for having me on. Have a great day, everyone.
He's Armando Marsal. I'm Ray Flowers. Tomorrow right here on the show, Justin Fensterman and Armando will join you at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll be with Jeff Mann's on the Elite Sports Show at 3 o'clock Eastern. Remember, every day, Monday through Friday, Justin and I on SiriusXM doing the Elite Sports Game Time Show. Thanks for listening. For Armando, I'm Ray. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com.